Many of our ancient ancestors noticed the cycles not just of the earth but of the heavens, and they came to understand that living in harmony with these cycles was key to their vitality and happiness. Many learned to balance logical thinking, yang, with intuitive feeling, yin. This is how they gained harmony and balance with the earth. They were able to move energy around in their bodies, and as a result, very many lived quite long, happy, and vitally filled lives. Love, made to blossom through cyclical living, blending whole brain plus belly brain, is our empowering, clear-seeing biological birthright. Working with Fetal 5 element quantum energetic lines helps connect us with our seat of emotion, the belly brain, and they open the door to living in greater harmony with the 5 seasons. Today, Fetal 5 element quantum energetic lines assist with our vital energetic flow.
Inshallah and Ashe, blessings to you, my energetic beings. It's a fantastic Friday. You 372 plus magical beings, I should say. So when each of you refers just one friend, that's when we're going to hit the 777, spirit to spirit to spirit, sharing the excitement with your friends and possibly a passionate and charming way. We're in a snake month. So the momentum is really on, creating this domino effect. The key ingredient truly is authentically other energetic beings, virtual musers in the galaxy. Either way, whatever that is, thanks for joining in. Thanks for tuning in. So anybody else finding themselves singing some Tina Turner songs? I literally was singing We Don't Need Another Hero all night long. Actually, in the middle of the night, I woke up at the Witcher's hour, 2 a.m., even simply the best. She truly, authentically was simply the best. She truly, authentically was simply the best. Words cannot even express my gratitude for this beyond words amazing legend, the queen, that she truly is the queen. Reflecting, seeing her in concert in the late 80s, I actually went. So amazing. I even recognized, even at 2 a.m., that my crickets are missing due to some political corruption in my neighborhood, the city that I live in. So did you know that actually crickets, the sound of crickets it's a healing frequency. It has the ability to really cleanse, not just the airwaves, but also the auric air fields. Nature in its authenticity has all the sacred geometry to heal, especially in the unseen. It's the best solution authentically. It's beyond time to really stop the destruction of nature in our cities. We are actually a part of nature, and it's not serving us at all, then it's not really serving none. It's the whole or the nothingness. Just a little muse there. But with that, go ahead and hit that white rabbit. It's the only way to make sure that this algorithm is going to really give us the nutritional quotient that we so deserve down to our soul and our bones. And we're transcending our awareness, which is actually a very unique and powerful way of even how that we are thinking about ourselves. So what do I think of myself to be true, to be authentic? This is what we're transforming in the season of Gemini. Our thoughts, our solar plexus, mental clarity, the auric fields of clearing our mental fields and our thought fields. Our entire way of thinking about who we are authentically. It's being re-choreographed in a way. It's like getting a new a stage, a script is what I was thinking. It's almost like when you go see a concert and they're just playing the guitar, the acoustic. Really to see ourselves, possibly even for the very first time, the way Creator, the oneness, actually sees us and thinks about us, our higher self, our true authenticity within our heart space, how that even looks. Who we are is really always guiding us through this heart, through the light, the star of who we are, shining upon our thoughts we have about who we are and within ourselves. So you may find some very particular, maybe even some puzzling little insights, thoughts that your mind is overhauling our thinking. It's like overhauling an engine overhaul. Coming to a understanding of a new way of thinking as the old one's dissipating. So we're going to go through this every year. We actually do, cycling through. Thoughts percolating through this entire integration. It's the yin side of us. What do you think about who you are inside of you? Clearing the auric fields, the causal fields. I always think of that. It's the old way of thinking and being mindful. It begins to clear itself, transforming itself, cleaning itself of those old narratives, attitudes dissipating, filtering the mental field. So thoughts enter our auric field before landing in our solar plexus. This is mentality. It's structuring. And some will go to where they belong, and go somewhere different. So it's like who we are is activating through our heart, the sun, shining brightness, illuminating. So you may find yourself going through your own process of this integration. So what you believe to be true about who you are as the possibility of this inauthentic self of being maybe in a state of wonder. So I kind of feel like the key ingredient is opening up to a different way of manifesting. Mercury again in Taurus, how we feel we could receive new insights and even new ways to go about it. Even what we're heart experiencing in our heart, which is like divine core love processing, maybe experiencing. Maybe we need some assistance in what we need to allow ourselves to let go of because it feels shaky, right? We're in shaky ground. So just being where we authentically belong in the world, the place, the space, the people, the environment, situations, etc. So is anybody else kind of feeling this way? Like I'm questioning myself especially as a Gemini sun. So, what am I believing about myself that rings true about me? It's really about gift and purpose, which I also dreamt about last night. Bringing your star, your light out into the stage of life, your life, something that might even be prophetic, felt deeply, maybe from an energetic sweep, something like a radical sweep energetically, that's really life transforming, getting clear on what we believe to be true about who we authentically are. This is kind of happening for us, and the universe is opening the door to the collective portals, if you will, the particles and the waves being employed, functioning on what it believes, probably more so subconsciously, otherworldly, in order for us to create and to manifest, like clarity on who we are being in service to. Are we serving everybody, or are we serving ourselves on this platter? And our heart's it's kind of porous, if you will. That's the word that came to me this morning. Porous in a thoughtful way. So utilizing this porosity, if you will, as an integration to allow ourselves to kind of unfold like the lotus that we all are. So with that, my name is Tonya D, and welcome to my virtual medicine room on this fantastic Friday. And if you have yet to subscribe to my channel, please do. Authentically Heartfelt. Go ahead and hit that white rabbit on YouTube where you're tuning in, Tonya D. And even my Musing with Tonya D podcast, the Season of the Witches, which I'm loving, the solar plexus. But before, again, we go on any further, the Shamans portal is also in alignment. But let's give a shout out to the village. The tribe is excelling, it's growing. I see Jessica Olson has subscribed. Thank you so much. Gratitude and blessings, new peeps entering the show, the community. I just always love to give a voice of validation that I do recognize you. I do see you as you are arriving. So with that, welcome to the show. And I always like to imagine the angel numbers, new subscribers entering Gemini season 555, the mind, staying curious, hitting the goal story of the spirit to spirit to spirit, inspired intentions, creating a village of like-minded, loving musers, angelic numbers if you're in. Please share the excitement with your friends, like-minded groups, and whatnot. It really does take a tribe, a village beyond the like-mindedness to choreograph a stage to change not just the stars, but the world. So let's give a shout out to those of you that have been a part of my journey since the very beginning. I still see you as well. Always offering blessings, Ashe, to you and for you. Thanks for being there. And also those that do tune in later on the replay, I also acknowledge and validate you. And just remember a comment if you do need a message for your day to get you on your way. If you're feeling the need, it's all about our feelings. Sharing is just another way of paying it forward, a gift of gratitude. You could also find me on TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Reels, by the way. Thank you for saving my Reels, sharing my Reels. Blessings, I see that as well. And by the way, just remember, I am your otherworldly shamanic reflecting assistant. You truly are your own healer, but sometimes we do have energetic hiccups, and we need an otherworldly life coach assistant, a panoramic view, myself included, to really get us out of our own magical way so our starlight shines even brighter. The daily snippet, what's this all about? Well, I like to bring in the cosmic energies, the planets and their elemental design, doing their cosmic dance. By design, I do follow the energies of the moons through the seasons and the gates as a reflector. I do this each month. It's a different flavor, by the way. I do have a channel activated today, but I just stick with the moon. For the season of Gemini, we do have the solar plexus by design online. It's all about mental clarity, administration, data entry, thoughts kind of percolating, being mindful of our inner world, the voice inside of us, self-esteem, being confident, optimistic, yellow, bright like the sun. Take my Change Your Stars quiz if you're curious to find out your intuitive gift orders, your psychic abilities. We all have them. I always see Gemini as really curiosity and questioning everything. It might be just because I am one, but it's about traveling the neighborhood, our third house communication. So it's like, who's the ruler of your third house and what is your natal Mercury? Where's that at? And the 4 pillars of Chinese astrology, the elementals of the day, the energetic centers, the pathways. I kind of tune into the fields as well. As a reflector, I'm always asking myself first thing in the morning, is this the right time, the right place, the right people, which is very much part of my design, and the right time, or topsy-turvy-ish? Or what am I seeing that nobody else can see? What's the movement or the momentum that I'm even creating? And the solution, what's the solution that I'm truly creating within this momentum, this movement, this action? So if you are curious how you too can utilize the elementals off grid or on this grid, join me in the Rising of the Origins to really inspire a perspective that you may not have seen them in. The key truly is always trusting our intuition, connecting with, I would say, the universe, God universe, whatever you want to call it, Great Spirit. But again, take my quiz, Change Your Stars. If you are super curious about your intuitive gifts, some of them may be just otherworldly. The out-of-body energetic centers light up a different stage. With the solar plexus online in the season of Gemini and the Shaman's portal, we do have the ability to achieve clear consciousness through this divine center, activating it. So if we are not centered in the self, we are not controlled by dualistic beliefs and can create from higher states of consciousness. So the elementals, the foundation of changing this information, holding reality, and then we shift your reality through the triangle, which is the 3-pointed triangle, by the way, which then represents the consciousness of God along with the oneness, right? So all cubes can actually be cut into triangles. So everything we have ever needed for healing already lies within the third dimensional universe. What's also called the third spiritual gate of illusion. So it's accessible here in this time and space. And we have a moment where we finally are able to understand that the physical is the divine, which brings me back to nature. So whatever you begin to think within yourself becomes clear. And understanding this clarity of clear divine consciousness and being able to come to a completion of thoughts, which naturally sets the stage of who we think we are out into the world for the entire year or until the next season of Gemini. But our solar plexus is always percolating and moving anyway when we're connected to that gift order, mental clarity, knowing, clear consciousness, right? So as we begin to integrate a new thought process, we then come to a new way of seeing the world, a new panoramic view, a perspective about how we think about who we are, how we think about ourselves, and generating a new mindset and approach that way. It's kind of a biased belief when thinking about ourselves. That's kind of what I'm sensing. So you may have interpreted an idea yesterday when I asked you to find your polarizing word for the day. Clear thinking, even taking it further and out into the future. So it's all about not just discovering, but also generating a new way of thinking about who you are in this whole process. So you may have even thought of who you are in some sort of language before. The language is kind of being modernized. Modernity could even be light language, angelic, telepathy language. I'm seeing codes. You may have even noticed that you're kind of realizing your own gift and purpose, your truth about the words that you have been saying and how they do become real, taking forms. About who you are, thoughts do create things. So find the fresh word in that perspective of how you think of who you are, and use your heart as kind of a barometer, a point, a guiding star, if you will, on how you treat or respond to yourself inside of yourself. And it's being like you're getting like a new picture point of view, if you will, between thinking and those mental points, clarity, even reconciling them coming from a different mindset. And that gives us kind of a boldness of character and strength and confidence and self-esteem, thinking of ourselves differently. So the character that we want to be seen at coming out into the stage of life in the world, and realizing, coming into a self-realization, that it's time to create this long-term investment into a higher mental panoramic view perspective about our motivations, about who we are and how we make decisions for ourselves, as well as consider how the quality of love is going to alter how we think about deciding for ourselves, which is hopefully it's like an alternative. I'm just seeing symbols for some reason, a higher octave of a mindset, a way of we think and decide about our thinking self in the first place. So the main intention is to really think of ourselves in a brand new, I would say grandioso, maybe a little ostentatious, find an elevated, I would even say an otherworldly perspective to take yourself out that's very optimistic, very different, innovative way of thinking about who you are, beyond positive, bigger than life itself, kind of creating an internal dialogue, a voice to use within yourself of who you are. So this voice needs to be used out like every day, probably for the upcoming year. That's why I upgraded from I'm doing great to I'm doing fantastic. I love that you can see my Ambriel camera, which is not the one I'm using, by the way, but that's kind of funny. But it is a fantastic, like that's been my go-to word. I might upcycle that myself, something prophetic or different. So just be mindful of your feelings today. Maybe take it into the weekend. I'm thinking of ancestors, Memorial Day, Veterans Day, just being in your heart, the core of your heart. And this internal voice, is it being heart-led, the words that you use? And thinking higher of who you are within this alternative voice, the language. I still see light language and codes. So we want to kind of choreograph inside of us this internal sphere, an atmosphere. So just a few announcements with that, and that was kind of a lot, but I was super excited to share some insight about the third energetic center and what's happening there. So on this fantastic Friday, are you still being able to open up to receive in both expected and unexpected ways? And just knowing that the universe is working in our favor and calling in the future that you're actually wishing for, and seeing the abundance, the prosperity, you know, I would even say the wealth in your health. You know, health is a different form of wealth that sometimes we don't appreciate until we don't have it anymore. Same with the crickets. Even connecting with the angelic beings of the season or even of the day. However, I still have the Rising of the Origins, starts next week. Super stoked. Begins June 1st if you're in. This really is about setting the stage. That might have been what I was dreaming about, honestly, because I was dreaming about gift and purpose and the elementals, and just combining the elementals with the subtle energies and discovering your true authenticity, your gift and purpose. Super excited to start that journey once again. If you have yet to join, open the portal. There's a great meditation in there. And this week's audio room artist, this is great. Why Men Are So Scared of Women with Abram Weiss. It's an interesting episode, I should say. It'll open your eyes to a different way, I believe. Things that we never think about sometimes, or, you know, I always like to stay curious. So this was very awe-inspiring as we dove into that in the Season of the Witches, my Musing with Tonya D podcast. You can find that on my website. But be sure to comment below in the show notes your favorite audio room artist so I can have them back for a round 2. And again, you can find that on my website, tonyad.tv/podcast, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, I believe, and even Google, not sure. But Sundays, I still am doing my Rising of the Origins, my mystery guest. A lot's happening for the Rising of the Origins here. But the mystery guest, what I do is I look at your 4 pillars chart and show you as a mystery guest your useful element to bring it into your foundation. And always use that. My useful element is actually water. My 4 pillars, I have no water in my chart. I am full of fire. And then in the Dagara, I'm even fire. So I'm very spirit, divinely connected to spirit and taking actions from my heart place, which is very interesting. Ideas, I'm a Yang Wood Daymaster, which is the energy of today, which I will get to. But I do this in a private community. So if you need assistance with your elemental foundation, that's kind of what that's all about. I still have Soliciting Solitude on the highway for a divine feminine savings. That's going to end next week. It's a buy one, get one free, or purchase for yourself at the 88 infinity numbers. Men too, you do have a yin side. That ends the end of the month or next week. And cowrie shell divinations. I'm doing an event actually all about cowrie shell divinations in July on the 16th, which has a whole nother thing happening for it. But cowrie shell divinations it's an art of divination brought to the West by Elder Malidoma Somé. So I do cowrie shell divinations, and I also do other one-on-one support sessions. So if you're feeling the nudge or you need some assistance, energetic hiccup, I do predominantly use cowrie shell divinations plus intuitive giftings, psychic abilities to tune in to your frequency on your stage. So that's kind of fun. I also have other online offerings that I generally don't bring into my show, but the Energy Body Demystified was actually one of my very first, I would say, not really my very first, but one of my first. So if you're into expanding your knowledge into energy medicine and healing for yourself first, the Energy Body Demystified really is a beginner's journey to dive in and heal yourself first, understanding just the foundations of the energy system, and then change your stars, which is a foundational on top of that. And then from there, we go to Voices and Secrets of the Other World, which these are my favorites, I should say, because a lot of people are very curious about near-death experiences and life and death and all those things. So I kind of choreograph that in there, so it takes it up a notch, if you will. So those are kind of probably my favorites. However, I do find a foundation is truly needed because we kind of get sidecarred, if you will. And Mongolia is still on the highway. My friend is already there with the reindeer people. Took a group this week for 14 days. My adventure's not till August. So if your soul is calling you, tugging at you to go on this indigenous spiritual adventure, space is limited. The price is going up the end of May, which is next week. So that's super fantastic. So be sure to join us. And I do, of course, have an activated gate today. Gate 64 and 47, which is the channel of abstraction, which I found curious. It's, what do I want to say about this? It's about the mind in a way. That's kind of how I see it. It's kind of this gate of realization and also a collective kind of circuit along with the gate of confusion. So it's kind of sharing what we think, and the collective is nothing without sharing. It's this topsy-turvetish. So we all are kind of sharing the past, and then this is creating a thought process to make sense of the past. So it's kind of a more common channel, but it's a big part of being human and reviewing what does make sense and what doesn't make sense. So it's like clarity, you know, maybe having an abstract thought, but just being kind of having an open door, I guess, a kaleidoscope of thoughts and images of what does and doesn't make sense. It's kind of like the aha moment that we can get clarity on within a story. I hope that makes sense. Sometimes I wonder about these, but with the element of the day on the elemental highway, we have a young wood monkey of a day, a Jaya Shen. Like I said, this is kind of my energy, so I guess I have a friend coming today. But the monkey is pruning the young wood. It's very aggressive. And what is it, right? It's aggressively transforming. So we kind of need to decide upon to change, to transform, to prune into something useful. The yin fire is more helpful for the young metal. The snake and the monkey, that's kind of a disaster story there, but not really. Kind of, but not really. But it's kind of interesting. And remember, of all of the elementals, yang wood of the daymasters, yang wood needs all of the elementals for sustenance, rain to pour down from the heavens to the waters, the earth feeding the roots, sun to shine, to sparkle. So the leaves and the winds flow and more minerals from the earth and also sustenance, but just keeping us all pruned and nice and tidy. But the earth, of course, the soil, to become rooted, and not sure I said that already, but that's kind of what the soil is. We've got a mountain range hidden in our day. Yang Wood is a forward-thinking, innovative person, somebody who is very determined, goal-orientated, initiating, leading. But our day is lonely, though. It's a lonely day. It's the only tree, a big tree. It doesn't have any friends, just an enemy out in the rabbit there, kind of in the distance, but either way, it's still there. And the monkey does have big water, big earth, a mountain, but the power, that's what metal represents. The power pruning our tree is very controlling, possibly trimming down way too much, chipping away at our day. It's probably kind of very aggressive, is kind of the energy I get. Even the water is actually too much. It's like a torrential downpour, the yang water, in the root system in the earth. So possibly the soil is muddy, it's overly wet. The earth is overly wet for our yang wood day or person, if you get the picture, the idea there. But the fire represents our performance, our creativity. It's the action a yang wood or nature person takes. So their performance and creativity is very going to be charismatic today, which is great. Yin fire is still a little bit more drastic, coming from the heavenly realm. So that's kind of spirit and source. Maybe you're not listening to your intuition. And the snake is our actions. It's gracious actions. It's the performance that we do. It's just natural. It's a natural gift and talent. That's kind of what that is. But something that's our innate natural way of doing something. It's a natural talent. But the earth, again, the big mountain, is wealth that we earn. It doesn't come to us. It's from our creativity, something that our natural gift and talent. And we've got more of that yang metal. So this is a very kind of aggressive, scratchy. I think the only protection we really have is the yin fire on the month, because the yang fire is going to just turn that yang metal into a puddle of metal. Not a useful tool, actually. But it's destroying us. It's nitpicking us apart, picking apart our decisions, actually. And the monkey is the birth of water, and the snake is the birth of metal. So we've got some birthing actions here. And water on the ear is actually a great resource, the yin water. It's a positive mentor. It's bringing something to us. So we kind of got balance between yin and yang energy. How we are being seen in the world would kind of represent the yang, or see what we're seeing as. Well, what's going on inside of us, that's the yin energy inside of us. So it's kind of topsy-turvy-ish. So as the world is kind of picking us apart, that's the yang energy in that metal. The yin energy is trying to be a resource. It's kind of a miracle that's possibly coming. And again, the rabbit is a competitor. It's somebody who wants our assets, wants something that we have going against us as well. So it really is somebody who's competing for something we already have. So I just say shine your light brighter on a day like this. I'm a Yangwood Day Master. That's kind of the energy I get. So now, I said on Monday, we do have a fantastic Friday. And the messages, this is going to be fantastic. I'm so excited to share this because it's going into the weekend. It's cozy up with risk. To me, it's like cozying up with risk. It's kind of like get intimate with risky flavors. But the 61, I don't know if you can see the card number there, that's loving what we are receiving from spirit. And on a month where we've got full fire activation, this is spirit. It's the divine pour. This is also peace, inner peace of love, peaceful flow. The 6 and the 1 in the Dagara years, that's reconciliation, clarity. And in this case, it's mental clarity of our mind. Basically, it's having a fearless pursuit of our dreams. Fire is dreams and visions, the ability to really successfully manage both calculated or uncalculated risk. I see this as the expected and unexpected, just kind of pushing past our fears, new opportunities, new doorways, new portals, creative expansion of what's possible, and maybe learning to control that monkey mind of ours. Learning to bless our fear for a change, moving ahead anyway, focusing on those end goals. Yang wood. Often, risk is kind of inevitable, especially when we're out to pursue our dreams. So it's like, go on, cozy up, get to know each other, you and risk, sit with the word risk and just you and risk, kind of asking yourself, is it time to risk a little bit more? Even being by a campfire, I build them all the time, but they both need to be watched, tended to carefully. Neither one should be feared, respected, responsibility, all kind of are part of a campfire. So it's like, just like a campfire, it can be a magical catalyst for 100 infinite wonderful stories sitting around the campfire. And risk can also be a catalyst, just like fire, where we have those 100 possibilities of having our dreams all realized. Just encouraging risk means that we are aware, we're pushing our boundaries, our innovations, and we're being kind of bravely courageous. That's kind of part of the yang metal. Courageous outpouring, trying new things, testing ideas, and really living that way. and trusting that we are going to be rewarded. Trust that your reward will be waiting for you already, especially when we take that leap of faith, that we're going to find ourselves at a soft landing in love with our investments, our creations. So this is a catalyst for something better. Probably we're working towards an extraordinary life, something unseen, that extraordinary polarizing word. The only way to really arrive kind of passes right from the warm, inevitable glow of the unknown percolating. Maybe you're feeling stuck. Maybe you're having the inability to really move forwards, or maybe you're feeling controlled by fear, certainty, those kinds of things. But it's time to release those negative thought patterns even before being realistic about the risk, the tolerance of the risk, the yin fire forging the yang metal. Fear of risk is kind of paralyzing our growth. It does that. So it's kind of the potential to be taking too many uncalculated risks to the point of that recklessness in our behavior, possibly. So maybe you're worrying without any real cause. Maybe you're stressed when things go exactly as planned. Have you seen that? When things go exactly how you wish for, you kind of have more anxiety. Are you blowing your risk out of proportion? Are you ruminating over thoughts and things that can't change? Are you worrying about something that hasn't even happened yet? So what area of your life requires a little more trust from you? And hold on to that trust, intuition, trusting your intuition. And for fun, I'm stoked about this message. It flipped out. This was flipped out in the spin. I didn't talk about it on Monday. I was holding it for the weekend. You can use it for today as well, but this is, at least for me, I feel like this is very amazing. The 16, which is the same as the 61, just a little bit differently. So this is opening up to accept the divine pour. The universe is asking us to really receive messages from spirit, a message from spirit in our day-to-day world. So this may also be, because it's water, it's the Dagara, forgiveness, mercy, compassion, having both 16 and 61 magically on the same day. Just a little muse there. So light in the unexpected. I love it. Expect the unexpected, upheaval, disarray, working with the sudden change, the transformation, lessons from unexpected sources. I would say source itself, God, universe, even spreading love in difficult times around your garden, showing your true authenticity, yourself, being a light worker in a place where it's actually needed the most. So this really is something unexpected emerging, probably very quickly, possibly radically. It's that type of sudden change. It can be very exhilarating. You could also feel things like gotten way out of control, hold sacred space, especially when parts of our regular scheduled reality begin to crumble, right? Even though the future will be unpredictable during this upheaval this weekend, people, right? Just know that the universe is really holding us close in its favor, that this change is going to expose a handful of opportunities and possibilities that often we can't see just yet. So what shimmers beneath the rubble and the stones? Usually it's love and light and meaning and happiness, integrity, etc. It's all the things, and they're all hidden in our current situation. So allow them to flood into your life by actively searching for the meaning actually in the madness, in the chaos. You know, it's like when the storm comes and the rubble's everywhere and then everything settles down. It's a whole different point of view. You're going to see that it's exactly what we've been preparing for. But it's often during those challenging times that our star stuff can truly authentically shine. So take a deep breath, take that pause, and seek the light in the darkness, the ghost in the darkness. There's so much of it there to work with. Maybe you're feeling as if your preparedness is kind of lacking. Maybe you're feeling like there's a loss of control, or maybe situations, beliefs that are shaking your foundations to the core. Maybe you're hiding your authentic nature, your true self, your feelings, because of what is socially acceptable. Like, are you refraining from your light for society's kind of? It's like delaying the inevitable, or denying the necessary change, and not working with your light when it's actually needed, validating your light. So is there something about your life today that you have been looking at all wrong? What's fractured? What's working? What pieces are worth keeping? What exponential growth or transformation is actually available to each and every one of us. And what light in the unexpected is staring right back at you with its silver lining. So just being mindful of your self-talk, that inner voice, the spin of your inner and outer wheels, the front and back sides of your solar plexus. So what are we allowing in the wheels? What are you cycling out of your wheels? And just being aware of those instant truths as we need them. What a great, magical, fantastic Friday into the weekend, Memorial Day. So what I would affirm is something like, I am instantly aware of a new way of thinking about who I am. It might even be polarizing still from yesterday. So just kind of stirring the cosmic pot, if you will, and like find a language, a modern voice, a modern word that actually resonates through your heart center. And with that, I possibly may see you on Monday. I haven't decided yet. As a reflector by design, it's just about my morning, what's on the airwaves. So with that, I will see you maybe Sunday or possibly Monday. Make it a fantastic Friday, and I'll see you soon. Ashe, blessings.
Absolutely, it does. We know pretty clearly now that most of what we attribute to gender is actually socialization, that men and women are not inherently that. I mean, obviously there are some differences. I can't have a baby, for example, but that psychologically, men and women are not actually born that different. They become very different through socialization, like the story I just told you about the poor boy who made the mistake of singing a lullaby. So all babies are incredibly dependent on their mothers. So without getting too geeked out here, of all species, we have the young that are most dependent at birth, because most animals are born ready to live in the world. They're born and they run off and they go do what they do. But humans, because of our large brain,